when you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them.
There's an old saying in politics, when the truth speaks softly, power tends to yell back. With that in mind, take a second to like, share, and subscribe to Uncensored Headlines. Pour yourself whatever helps you stay focused, coffee, water, something stronger, it's your call, because what you're about to hear deserves your full attention. Senator John Kennedy just delivered a brutal reality check to Ilhan Omar on national television, and it was long overdue. This wasn't a casual disagreement or a routine partisan jab. Kennedy systematically tore apart her talking points and exposed the contradictions behind her rhetoric, step by step. Predictably, legacy media outlets are staying silent. No headlines. No panels. No outrage, because moments like this don't fit the narrative they prefer to protect. So stay with us until the end. What was said in that exchange isn't just another viral clip or political theater. It speaks directly to where this country is headed, and why these conversations matter far more than the distractions dominating the daily news cycle.
A lot more important issues in front of the United States Congress and the American people than who tweets what to whom. So let me say it one more time. I thought in the president's original tweet, I thought it was a poor choice of words. I think I know what the president meant, and he clarified later and said, look, if you're not happy in America, leave. Just leave. And I agree with that. But his original articulation of that concept, in my opinion, fell short of the mark. Number two, frankly, I don't know why the president felt the need to tweet on this subject at all. You know, when you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools. They hate America. They think America was wicked in its origins, and it's even more wicked today. They ought to be thanking America instead of calling America evil and wicked and racist. But this is America, and they have the right to their opinion. But I don't like to see the president even dignify their point of view. Besides that, I think that the Squad, as they call themselves, they are destroying the Democratic Party. You know, when your opponent is screwing up, don't interrupt him. Let him go. I mean, just looking at this from a political standpoint, if I didn't know better, I would think the members of the Squad were GOP plants. I mean, they think that illegal immigration, socialism, higher taxes, abortion are all moral goods. They think America, Israel, free enterprise are moral bads. That's not what most Americans believe. And that's kind of where I am on the subject. The president has explained his position. He has said, look, here's what I meant. If you're not happy living in America, leave. It's a free country, and I agree with that assessment.
If I am not on this committee for one term, my voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
Today's resolution, as it relates to Representative Omar, details 6 statements she made as a sitting member of Congress that under the totality of the circumstances disqualify her from serving on the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened.
The representative can say whatever the heck she wants, but we don't have to accept it or embrace it. Individuals who hold such hateful views should rightly be barred from that type of committee.
This institution is better because of her leadership, and the Foreign Affairs Committee benefits from her perspective. So let's talk about what's really happening. Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable. This is despicable.
We're not removing her from other committees. We just do not believe when it comes to foreign affairs, especially the responsibility of that position around the world with the comments that you make. She shouldn't serve there.
Senator John Kennedy delivered a reality check that the so-called squad should have expected a long time ago. In a moment of blunt clarity, he voiced what countless Americans have been saying quietly while too many elected officials dodged the backlash. He didn't dress it up. He didn't soften it. He called out what he sees as sheer foolishness, and he meant it. Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley have made names for themselves by relentlessly criticizing the country that gave them a national platform. America, in their telling, is irredeemably flawed, racist, unjust, and corrupt. Yet they benefit from every freedom, protection, and publicly funded advantage that comes with serving in the U.S. government. Kennedy cut through the posturing with a line as old as common sense itself, arguing endlessly with someone who has no interest in solutions only drags everyone down to the same level. That's why, he said, he refuses to engage in performative debates with people focused more on dismantling the country than improving it. Omar's story makes the contradiction even sharper. She came to the United States as a refugee, escaping instability and danger. America offered her safety, opportunity, and ultimately a seat in Congress. Instead of appreciation, Kennedy argues, she responds with hostility. To him, that isn't merely ironic, it's a deliberate rejection of the nation that made her success possible. He then widened the lens, pointing out that the squad may be the Democratic Party's biggest liability. Their embrace of far-left policies, border chaos, expansive government control, punishing taxes, and absolutist social positions, has alienated everyday voters who once felt at home in the party. Kennedy joked that if he didn't know better, he'd assume they were secretly working for Republicans, given how effectively they push moderates away. Even Donald Trump's old remark, "If you don't like America, you're free to leave," resurfaced in the discussion.